Hello everyone, and welcome back to Turkish series Stars, the place where we peel back the glitter to reveal the heartbeat beneath the headlines. If you love uncovering the emotions hidden behind show-stopping photos and viral posts, make sure to subscribe, tap the join button, and hit like. Your support lets us keep bringing you the stories that live just behind the velvet rope. Today's story brings us to a couple whose names have been entwined with the very idea of modern Turkish romance, Demet and Can Yaman. Their connection has always been a storm of passion, surprise, and the kinds of turning points that keep everyone holding their breath. From the first spark that ignited on set to the whispers that followed them off camera, Can and Demet have captivated millions who watch, hope, and root for them through every twist. Not long ago, after a brief separation that left fans feeling like the world had gone a little gray, the two decided to try again. Their reunion swept across social media like the sun breaking through after a long rain. Timelines lit up. Comments poured in. People celebrated like a favorite film had finally found its true ending. It felt like the start of a second chapter that might finally make good on the promise of the first. But just when it seemed as if peace had returned and the fairy tale had found its rhythm, a voice rose that changed the tone of the whole song. Behind the scenes, there were murmurs of a startling statement, reportedly coming from Demet's manager. The words were stinging. Reuniting with Can was a mistake, they said. One sentence, repeated and amplified, became the spark for a wildfire that turned a tender homecoming into a public storm. Within hours, entertainment outlets picked up the rumor. Fans were stunned. The alleged claim was that Demet's choice was driven by emotion rather than caution, that she stood at the height of her career and this love might drain her energy, distracting her from an unstoppable professional climb. It was the kind of sentiment that divided the internet down the middle. On one side were the loyal supporters who rallied to Demet's defense. They said no one had the right to interfere with something so personal. If she was happy, that was the only measure that mattered. The comments were full of warmth, full of empathy, full of that fierce protectiveness fans feel for the stars who have become part of their daily lives. People remembered how she carried herself through hard times, how she worked, how she smiled, and how that smile mattered to them. On the other side were those who wondered whether the manager was doing what managers are paid to do: protect the brand, guard the image, keep the numbers rising. Maybe this wasn't malice, they suggested, but the anxiety of someone who had seen what public drama could do to an artist's focus in an industry that moves with the speed of a breaking wave. Perhaps the words were clumsy, but meant to be a shield. As the debate grew louder, all eyes turned to Can and Demet. People wanted to know, what would they say? What did they feel? How would they answer the swirl of voices speaking over their love? Those close to the situation said Can was deeply upset. He was quoted as saying that no one had the right to speak about Demet's life that way, and that their relationship belonged to the two of them, not to anyone else. It was a simple message, but a strong one, the kind that lands like a hand placed firmly on a table. Fans took those words as a promise. Whatever came their way, he would stand with her. But for some, his statement raised another thorny question. Would the pressure of this spotlight, the constant push and pull of opinions, create new cracks that hadn't been there before? Fame asks a lot from those who live inside it. It pulls on both the heart and the schedule, both the home and the headlines. Even the closest confidants, even the ones who want the best, can sometimes become part of the storm instead of the calm. In a world where every coffee run becomes a rumor and every glance becomes evidence, this moment felt like a mirror for the bigger battle so many stars face. You can be at the crest of your career and still be in love. You can want both and be told you must choose. The alleged remark from Demet's manager became a symbol. To some, it was a protective warning. To others, a public line crossed. Depending on where you stood, it either felt like care or control. Through it all, Demet kept quiet. No response, no press note, no aimless swipe at the rumors. Those who know her said she was calm but distant, channeling her energy into work, into scripts and rehearsals, into rehearsed movements and free-spirited moments on set. Her silence spoke, though. It felt like a phrase left on a table between friends. Say what you will, I know where I'm going. Strength can look like many things. Sometimes it looks like answering. Sometimes it looks like not. That quietness resonated with many. In it, fans saw poise and a kind of peace that comes when you know your choices. Rather than trade retort for retort, she let her actions do the talking. She leaned into photo shoots, script readings, and the creative pieces that have always been the engine of her life. New projects, new challenges, new ways to show what she could do with time and focus. The cameras kept clicking, but the story she was building felt larger than this week's noise. And still, people wondered. Would this tension seep into the corners of her relationship with Can? Could a love survive the endless drumbeat of commentary, even when the two people at the center of it believe? They have both known the weight of expectation. They have both felt the high winds of success and the chill of scrutiny. When an audience becomes as invested as family, it can be both the warmest blanket and the heaviest coat. There is a truth about this world: living in the public eye is a test that never truly ends. Every emotion becomes a caption, every private moment a potential headline, every plan a forecast made by strangers. Demet and Can are not alone in this. They are walking a path many young stars now know well, trying to stand at the summit of their careers while keeping a part of their hearts sheltered enough to grow. In the end, perhaps Demet's quiet resolve will be what carries them through. Without raising her voice, she showed elegance under pressure. Without picking sides on a public stage, she reminded people that love and ambition don't need to cancel each other out. They can share the same calendar, the same home, the same sunrise and call time. It isn't always easy, and it isn't always neat, but it can be done by those who want it badly enough. What happens next? Only time will answer that question with any honesty. Maybe this is a stepping stone. Maybe it is a turning point. Maybe it is the kind of storm that blows the air clear so you can finally see what matters. Can and Demet have both seen enough to know that looks can deceive and that real feelings don't fit into simple narratives. The next days, the next weeks, will tell their own story. For now, the spotlight moves and they move with it. Photos will surface. Rumors will start and stop. Some people will insist they know the truth, and others will admit they don't. Through all of it, there is a sense that both of them understand the bargain of fame. To have millions care about you is a gift and a burden. To be asked to choose between love and legacy is a choice that shouldn't have to be made. If the alleged words from the manager were meant as a shield, perhaps they landed like a stone. If they were meant as a wake-up call, perhaps they came too loud. But there is space in this story to recognize fear and love and hard-earned success, all at once. There is space to say that Demet's future can be bright and that her happiness matters. There is space to say that Can's promise to stand by her is more than a perfect phrase, it is the daily work of being present when the noise gets too loud. Imagine them together, away from the clicking of cameras, talking in the soft light of a kitchen or a balcony, leaving the digital world on the other side of a closed door. Imagine Demet setting down her script and taking a breath before a new day begins. Maybe they laugh at the absurdity of it all. Maybe they plan their weeks. Maybe they sit in quiet, trusting that the loudest storms still have an eye where calm lives. And beyond the rumors, there are the real pieces of their lives, early call times, friends who know the difference between gossip and truth, the shape of new roles, the search for the right story to tell. Demet's path is lined with projects that push her craft forward. Can's road is marked by ambition and the hunger to build something lasting. None of that disappears because of a comment. None of that is erased by a single sentence that traveled too far. So we return to the beginning. A reunion that felt like a long-awaited breath. A flare-up that tested patience. A show of support that felt like a vow. A silence that felt like steel. This is not a fairy tale and never has been. It is something better, a real story, messy and hopeful, carried by two people who have become symbols and are still, at the core, simply human. And now we turn it over to you, our incredible audience. Do you think Demet's manager crossed a line by calling the reunion a mistake, if the statement is true? Or was it a professional concern voiced without enough care for timing and tone? Should Demet focus solely on her career, or can she balance love and success in an industry that rarely slows down? Tell us what you believe. We read everything, and your voice matters here. That's our story today about Demet Özdemir and Can Yaman, a saga of affection, resilience, and the relentless test that fame sets for the heart. If you enjoyed being with us, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap the join button to support Turkish series stars as we continue bringing you the stories that live just behind the curtain. Until next time, be kind, stay curious, and remember, behind every headline that sparkles, there is a heart determined to keep its rhythm. As the days unfold, we'll keep watching with you. We'll watch for what is said and for what is left unsaid. We'll pay attention to the choices that tell the truth more clearly than any caption can. There is a special kind of courage in holding your ground when the ground is shifting. There is a special kind of grace in letting your work speak when words would only add to the noise. Whatever path they choose, it will be theirs. And that, more than anything, is what gives a story like this its power. Maybe the lesson here is that silence can be strategy, love can be steady, and a career can climb without stepping on the part of you that feels. Maybe the lesson is that a manager's job is to guard the fortress, but a heart is not a fortress to be guarded, it is a place to be tended. And maybe, just maybe, this is one of those storms that makes the roots grow deeper, so that when the winds come again, they will sway but not break. We'll be here to tell you what comes next, to frame the moments that matter, and to hold space for the ones that can't be seen through a lens. Because at Turkish series stars, we know the brightest lights are only as meaningful as the lives they illuminate. Thank you for watching, for caring, and for choosing to see the humans inside the headlines. We'll see you soon.